The Alfa Romeo 1750 GTV looked like just another elegant Italian coupe. But hidden beneath its graceful lines was a machine that repeatedly embarrassed far more powerful rivals and quietly earned a reputation as one of the greatest driver's cars ever built. Produced in relatively modest numbers and still adored by enthusiasts around the world, the 1750 GTV has become a true classic. By the end of this story, you'll discover why this beautiful coupe became known as the Italian giant killer, why its engineering was years ahead of its time, and why its greatest secrets are still surprising people more than half a century later. When the Alfa Romeo 1750 GTV arrived in 1967, Europe was already full of exciting sports cars. Jaguar offered luxury and speed. Porsche had the legendary 911. BMW was beginning to establish itself as a maker of sporting sedans. Against that competition, the Alfa looked almost modest. It wasn't the biggest car. It certainly wasn't the most powerful. Yet what Alfa Romeo created was something that focused less on raw numbers and more on how a car made you feel behind the wheel. That philosophy became its greatest strength. The first secret was hidden inside the engine bay. While many manufacturers still relied on simple pushrod engines, Alfa Romeo had spent years refining its famous all-aluminum twin-cam four-cylinder engine. For the 1750 GTV, displacement increased to 1,779 cubic centimeters, producing around 118 horsepower in road-going form. That figure may not sound extraordinary today, but horsepower alone never told the whole story. The engine loved to rev, breathed freely, and delivered its power with remarkable smoothness. Drivers didn't need huge torque because the engine encouraged them to explore the upper reaches of the rev counter. Imagine sitting behind the wheel on a winding mountain road. Every gear change rewarded you with another burst of eager acceleration and a mechanical soundtrack unlike almost anything else in its class. What most people never realized was that Alfa's engineers built an engine that felt alive rather than merely powerful, and that emotional connection became one of the company's greatest trademarks. But here is the surprising part. The engine wasn't working alone. Alfa Romeo paired it with a 5-speed manual gearbox at a time when many competitors still offered only 4 forward gears. Today that may seem ordinary, but during the late 1960s, a close-ratio 5-speed transmission was considered a feature usually reserved for much more expensive sports cars. The extra gear allowed drivers to keep the engine in its sweet spot while also making long-distance touring quieter and more relaxed. The result was a car that could happily cruise across Italy one day and attack twisting roads the next. Owners discovered they didn't have to choose between comfort and excitement. They could have both, and that versatility helped the 1750 GTV stand apart from many rivals. As impressive as the mechanical parts were, the next secret was something you couldn't easily measure. Alfa Romeo's engineers obsessed over balance instead of brute force. The coupe used independent front suspension and a carefully developed rear suspension with coil springs and trailing arms, creating handling that inspired confidence rather than fear. Once you know this, you cannot unsee it. Contemporary road tests repeatedly praised how naturally the car flowed through corners. Instead of fighting the driver, it seemed to cooperate with every steering input. You didn't need to be a professional racing driver to enjoy it. Everyday motorists could experience the same feeling of precision and control that racing drivers appreciated on the track. That balance became one of the defining reasons why enthusiasts still speak about the car with genuine affection decades later. That reputation wasn't built only on public roads. Another remarkable secret was the car's extraordinary success in motorsport. Through Alfa Romeo's competition department, Auto Delta, specially prepared versions of the 1750 GTV became dominant competitors in touring car racing across Europe. Facing larger-engined rivals from BMW, Ford, and other manufacturers, the Alfa often emerged victorious because it combined lightweight, excellent handling, dependable engineering, and an engine that thrived under demanding conditions. This is where the nickname Italian Giant Killer truly earned its place. It wasn't marketing. It was something proven on race circuits. Fans watched seemingly smaller Alfas challenge and often defeat cars with significantly larger engines. Every victory reinforced the idea that intelligent engineering could overcome sheer horsepower. Yet perhaps the most surprising secret had nothing to do with racing at all. Alfa Romeo designed the 1750 GTV to be practical enough for everyday life. Unlike many sports cars of the era, it offered genuine seating for 4 people, respectable luggage space, excellent visibility, and comfortable driving manners. You could drive it to work during the week, take your family on a weekend trip, and still enjoy spirited drives through the countryside whenever the opportunity appeared. This dual personality made ownership far easier than many exotic alternatives. Instead of sitting and used in a garage, these cars were driven, enjoyed, and woven into everyday memories. That practicality is one reason so many owners developed such deep emotional attachments to them. Then there was the styling, and this is another secret that becomes more fascinating the longer you study the car. The body was designed by Giorgetto Giugiaro during his time at Bertone, one of Italy's greatest design houses. At first glance, the shape appeared clean and restrained. It avoided unnecessary decoration. But look closer and you begin noticing subtle details that gave it lasting elegance. The low roofline, slim pillars, delicate chrome accents, and perfectly balanced proportions created a design that never chased fashion. Instead, it quietly achieved timelessness. While many cars from the late 1960s now look unmistakably tied to their era, the 1750 GTV still appears graceful and modern. That is remarkably difficult to accomplish, and it explains why collectors continue to admire its appearance today. There was another clever engineering decision hidden beneath that beautiful body. Alfa Romeo paid careful attention to weight reduction. The all-aluminum engine helped reduce mass over the front axle, improving steering feel and agility. Combined with the relatively lightweight construction of the coupe itself, every horsepower worked harder than the numbers suggested. Drivers often remarked that the car felt faster than its official performance figures indicated. What most people never realized was that reducing weight often delivers greater rewards than simply adding more power. Alfa understood this philosophy long before it became fashionable among modern performance car manufacturers. Of course, no classic Alfa Romeo story would be complete without acknowledging its imperfections. Reliability jokes have followed the brand for generations, but the truth is far more balanced. The 1750 GTV was mechanically robust when properly maintained. However, like many Italian cars of its era, rust became its greatest enemy. Moist climates and inadequate corrosion protection meant countless examples disappeared long before their mechanical lives had ended. Owners who cared for them meticulously often enjoyed years of dependable service, while neglected cars deteriorated rapidly. Ironically, this vulnerability has made surviving original examples even more valuable today. Every well-preserved 1750 GTV represents not only excellent engineering but also decades of careful stewardship by passionate owners. As the early 1970s unfolded, stricter emissions regulations, changing safety standards, and evolving market demands began reshaping the automotive world. Alfa Romeo introduced the updated 2000 GTV in 1971, offering a larger engine and subtle refinements. The 1750 GTV quietly stepped aside after a relatively short production run. Yet its influence never truly disappeared. Many enthusiasts still consider it the sweet spot of the entire 105 series family. It combined the purity of the earlier cars with meaningful engineering improvements before increasing regulations began changing the character of sports coupes. In many ways, it captured the perfect moment in automotive history when beauty, simplicity, and driving enjoyment existed in remarkable harmony. Today, the Alfa Romeo 1750 GTV enjoys a reputation that continues to grow. Collectors appreciate its timeless styling. Historians admire its racing achievements. Mechanics respect its beautifully engineered twin-cam engine. And drivers simply fall in love with the way it communicates through the steering wheel, pedals, and gear lever. Unlike many classics that impress only in photographs or museums, the 1750 GTV still feels wonderfully alive on the road. Every journey reminds you that great engineering is not always about building the fastest machine. Sometimes it is about creating a car that makes every mile memorable. Perhaps that is the greatest secret behind the Alfa Romeo 1750 GTV. It never needed overwhelming horsepower or extravagant luxury to become legendary. Instead, it relied on intelligent engineering, balanced design, racing pedigree, and an unmistakable Italian character that continues to charm anyone lucky enough to drive one. It proved that a well-crafted driver's car could outperform expectations, earn respect on the racetrack, and create lifelong memories on ordinary roads. Did you ever own an Alfa Romeo 1750 GTV, or was it one of those dream cars you always hoped to drive? Share your memories or thoughts in the comments below, and if you know someone who appreciates the golden age of classic Italian motoring, this is a story worth passing along.